You said a while ago that it was a lot about the mind. And I'm realizing that as a coach and as people who are trying to teach some of the things that you're saying, we often go to our mind in order to explain everything and to understand, but it cuts us away from feeling it or feeling how we should be wait a minute now, let me try that again. We cut off from the source of feeling because we are so mentally involved in trying to explain the process. And I realize that when I say to the people that I'm trying to teach that you're too much in your mind, I'm actually saying it to myself. But I don't know how to get out of there so that I can really start feeling the difference and not always having to go to my head in order to understand it.
Well, you have trained yourselves to be very effective thinkers. And you happen to live in the most leading edge of leading edge times where there is more to think about than there ever has been before. The technology of your world allows you access to more information. And so you are trained to think. And we don't think that it is that hard to think and feel, think and feel, think and feel, think and feel, once you understand that thinking is creating and feeling is guiding the creation. It would sort of be like saying, I'm going to drive down the road, but I'm not going to look where I'm going. And we say, drive and look, drive and look, drive and look, drive and look. And you find yourselves, in fact, Esther thinks it's quite interesting as she will drive 500 or 600 or 700 miles sometimes in a day in the big monster bus. And it's so interesting how at some unconscious level, she just naturally knows how to compensate to keep the bus on the road. In other words, she doesn't think, oh, I'm going over here, I should go over there. Oh, I'm going over there, I should go over there. She just naturally, innately keeps the bus moving the way she wants it to. And we think that your thinking is more natural than you are giving yourself credit for. We don't think it's that hard. That's what we meant earlier when we said there's an action journey, which you could call your observation of what's happening. And then there's the emotional journey, which is how you feel about it. And so if we were coaching as you are, we would let it be very clear in the beginning that unless you're paying attention to the way you feel, then you're thinking blindly. It's sort of like having a loaded gun that you're just shooting all over the place, and you could be wreaking havoc in your life experience. So rather than saying we don't do a good job of feeling while we think, we would begin saying we can do a better job of thinking and feeling, thinking and feeling. That was a pretty strong statement that you just made that was absolutely upstream. Whether it's true or not, it's upstream. So, want to say it different?
Yeah. I guess I'm trying to say, feeling it while I would be thinking it would be something that I could do at the same time, not something that needs to be.
What we're noticing, even as we're beholding you here, taking you in on all levels, is that you are doing a whole lot more feeling than you are thinking right now. A whole lot more.
Yeah.
A whole lot more. Mm-hmm. And it's not just because we zapped the thought right out of your head either. In other words, you're having a much more feeling experience as we're sitting here conversing than you are a thinking experience. And that's the thing that you want to guide people toward. But you're right, and this is the thing that you're trying to say, and you're absolutely right about it. People get fixated on a subject. They learn a direction of thought by rote, so to speak, without really considering that they have an option of changing the thought so that it feels better. Even Esther, with all her listening to us, even as we are pouring through her hour after hour, sometimes Esther will use a different criteria than how does it feel to choose a thought. For example, if she's sure she's right about something, she'll want to express her rightness. Sometimes she'll see something on television and she just knows they're making it up. She knows they are. And she'll want to talk about how wrong that is that they're doing, because she's so sure that she has the right picture of what's going on. And we say to her, you're right, but how do you feel? Well, I feel awful, she'll say, because of what they're doing. And we'll say, well, then maybe you want to use a different criteria for what you focus upon. And the human approach is, well, it's real, it's valid, it's happening, therefore shouldn't I give my attention to it? And we say, we wouldn't if it felt like that. And we think that's what you're getting at. People have learned to think, people will say, I should think about this because it's true. Look at how many horrible things have happened in the past of humanity, or are even happening today, that you feel obliged to turn your attention to because they are reality. And we say, but a feeling being who is guiding themselves by the way they feel, a feeling human who is reaching for the thought in the way that their inner being is approaching the thought, would feel their way into the thought. They wouldn't pull their way into the thought. They wouldn't say, well, what do most people think? They wouldn't have conversations with other people. They wouldn't be trying to test the water. They wouldn't be trying to figure out what the human consensus is and then throw out the right ones, wrong ones, and keep the right ones. They would be evaluating every thought by thought by thought by thought. What's my inner being think about this? What's my inner being think about this? What's my inner being think about this? Give us an example of something that you run across frequently with the people that you are coaching.
Okay. An example would be that sometimes we will be talking and looking at a new way of seeing things. But the argument starts within your own mind. And it says like, well, you need to have, in French I call it la folle du logis, or the crazy lady upstairs starts talking, as opposed, and sort of it wears you down, and all your arguments of why I should do this and how I should start doing a different way, you keep convincing yourself that it's not going to work anyway, or that it's not the right way, or that it's too difficult, or you just think about it too much.
Because law of attraction says, since that's the thought that's most active within you, changing that thought is not going to be easy. So if you are approaching this only on a what I'm used to thinking basis, law of attraction is going to give you more thoughts like that than a thought that is different from that. And that's why we're talking about the same thing here. You're about to have a breakthrough here. So if you are stuck in a sort of trend of a thought, that's because law of attraction is giving you another thought like the one you've been thinking, and another thought like the one you've been thinking. And if you are only thinking in terms of the thought that you've been thinking, then it's going to get more and more and more and more and more in the direction of that. But when you say, I care how I feel while I think, and my criteria for my choosing of thought is about the way I feel, now you have the only chance that you will have of choosing a different thought. We say to our friends, if you got a negative thought going on and you're unaware of it, don't worry, it will get bigger. And if you've still got a negative thought going on and you're still unaware of it, don't worry, it will get bigger until eventually something happens in your life. And this is the wonderful thing about this contrasting experience. When you really know what you don't want, you really know what you do want. So the advantage, so you see, you can't lose, because let's say you've got pesky little negative thoughts and you're unaware of them. Pesky little negative thoughts, pesky little negative thoughts, pesky little negative thoughts. And it's the pesky little negative thought is giving birth to a little positive thought, but not much is going on and no real reason to worry about it. Everybody thinks like this and I'm just one of them. So you don't pay any attention to the way you feel, and you don't do anything about changing the direction of your thought. And law of attraction then ups the stakes by bringing more things that match that until your life is more about these pesky little things that you don't like. Everywhere you go, more and more and more and more and more. So now, the pesky little things that you don't like are aggravating you more And the stronger the emotion is within you, which indicates, I really don't want this, which means I really do want this. So now you're swinging a wider swath. I don't want this, I do want this. And you see, this is what gets the momentum in the stream moving more strongly. So now these pesky little thoughts are getting bigger and bigger, and what you want is becoming more and more, and your stream is moving faster and faster. And the faster your stream moves, and you still having those pesky little thoughts, now a faster moving stream in that attitude of resistance is having a bigger effect in your life. That's why the negative emotion is becoming stronger, you see. And the stronger the negative emotion, eventually it reaches the sort of critical mass where either something happens that makes you really know what you don't want, which helps you really know what you do want, or you become aware that you cannot abide in this negative emotion anymore, and you deliberately turn and try to find better feeling thoughts. There are a lot of people here just because they want to feel better, and there are people here who have done this thing until they're in a critical place where they really have something that they need to turn around, you see. So just relax in it. We really make too much of this. For a while we called this the science of deliberate creation. And it made people like you and those that you're coaching a little crazy because you worried too much about every thought. People would say, cancel, cancel. They try to suck the thought back before law of attraction got hold of it. Yes. And then we began explaining that that's just the process of life. You're just going to wade through the data and you're going to give birth to all kinds of things that you want. You're going to do step one all over the place, and Source is going to answer what you're asking for, but then you got to find some way of allowing what you've been asking for in. And when we began talking about art of allowing, that's when people began realizing that it really is, it really is about learning to chill and allow yourself the better feeling thoughts that put you in the place of receiving what you've been asking for. There are a lot of people who want to be goal setters. They want to define their goals. They want to state not only what they want, but when they will come and how they will come. They want to sort of control their life experience, and there isn't anything wrong with that. But what happens is, in that attitude of control, is you find yourself often, when you want something and you can't figure out how it's going to come, to turn upstream, and then your awareness that it isn't coming contradicts everything that you're working for. And so what we try to explain to those who want to be goal setters, to those who want to speak affirmations, to those who want to get into workshops and sort of really try to make things happen, that the majority of your creative process happens just by naturally being alive in your physical body. And what we mean by that is the variety that you live is going to give birth to the desires. So you are asking all over the place. And Source Energy is answering every time you ask. So most of the creative process takes place just by living life. So you don't have to say to the universe every day what you want, because you've been telling the universe what you want bit by bit by bit by bit by bit. You have a vibrational escrow that is so specifically chosen with so many subtle nuances. If you had the rest of your life, you could not sit, any of you, and accurately describe what is waiting for you in vibrational escrow, because you can't remember all of the details of all of the experiences that caused you to ask for that and that and that and that and that. But the Source Energy part of you not only remembers, but has become it with everything you've lived. The Source Energy part of you has become everything that you've been asking for. So now, when you let your emotion matter a whole lot more than those thoughts, we're doing a really good sales job here, aren't we? When you let those emotions matter more than all of those cluttered, scattered thoughts. I care about how I feel enough that I'm going to choose a thought that gives me a feeling of relief, and another, and another, and another. Now what happens is you are doing the only work you ever needed to do. You have guided yourself in the direction of that which you have become. And as you start coming into alignment with that, you'll wonder what the big deal was ever about. Yeah. You'll wonder why you ever worry. That every now and again, Esther will laugh at herself as she will sit in an attitude of writing a goal. And then she will remember, oh yeah, you already know that, don't you? It's like the entire universe knows so much clearly than she could ever speak what she wants. Her work is just to chill and allow herself the thoughts that put her in alignment with what she's been asking for.